Welcome to the first demonstration for the fall 2021 Loss Run Data Analysis Project. So I'm not going to have my little side picture because I want you to be able to see what's on the screen. So I'll try to blow everything up and move things around. So for this first, hopefully this is quick. Let's investigate the data set, shall we? So I'll bring it up. So it's called UWW Loss Run for Fall 2021, and I have A there because I received several different copies. So there are two tabs, Policy Info and Master. So this company is a food manufacturer. Its standard industrial classification code is 2023. Its annual premium is about 763,000. Its EMR for this year is 0.84, and its payroll is about 31.5 million. I looked up, and the conversion from SIC 2023 is NAICS 311514. Just with this information, you should be able to look some things up and learn a little bit more about what type of work they do. The premium is interesting. We'll refer to it later as a percentage when we figure out what the losses are. Because they're an EMR of 0.84, I assume that the 3 years previous to, well, if it's 2021, we don't include 2020, and I'll show you why. So it's 2019, 18, and 17. So in that year range, we should see, a below 60% loss ratio. And then here's their payroll. So here is the master report. Rule number 1, do not molest the master. Never alter what I give you here. This has to remain pristine. And so before I start doing any changes to this, any manipulation, I'm going to move it to a new tab, and I'm going to show you that. But first, let's look and see what we have. So we know what kind of company it is. We have the original policy effective date. That just, and it's interesting because it starts August 1st. And is date of injury. Okay, I did sort date of injury for you. So it starts. So what we're going to do is we're not going to use calendar years. We're going to use fiscal years. We're going to use fiscal year of August 1st through July 31st. So then our first year is a complete 365-day year. So that'll be fiscal years. Keep that in mind for when we do our trend analysis. If we had to move it to calendar, we could, but then we wouldn't be able to include the first half of 2009. Yeah, we could. It's easy enough to go back and change. Not a big deal. And I can show you that. The policy date, not a big deal. So if we want to know the gender, which I don't know why, that may be down the road. We may sort by gender. We've got their date of birth, so we could actually calculate their age at the time of injury. We've got the date they were hired, so we could calculate the amount of time they worked there prior to getting hurt. The time of day it was reported, whether it's AM, PM, even though, here you can see it has it. I'm hoping you can see. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit more. I got to figure out what is optimal for my zoom. We've got the nature of injury description. Nature is basically what the doctor diagnosed for the injury. So that was on the report that came from the doctor. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the Department of Workforce Development and you can see what the paperwork is. That's what the doctor puts in there. The doctor indicates what the body part is. All these things are coded as well. Accident source, so this is our cause. So accident source description is the cause. We'll be sorting by this. We'll actually be recreating a different version of the cause variable. Next is the submission description, and we can read these, and we read them for the outliers that were removed, and we read them for entries that sound weird, just to verify, and we'll get to that in a different step. The policy class code, if you recall, the annual or the base premium is calculated by taking the rate of the policy class code multiplied by the payroll divided by 100 for that class code. The adjusted premium, or what's paid, is then you multiply the EMR times the base premium. So you can look up and see what the rates are in Wisconsin for these. It looks like these are listed as Illinois, so you may have to look them up in Illinois if you want to be completely accurate, but we're not going that accurate for this project. But we'll be sorting this. This is sort of the job code we'll be using. Jurisdiction is interesting. I don't know how much we'll get into it. Accident department is always a little bit screwy. It's like something they make up. We'll test it, but I don't know. We may use it, we may not. Policy class code is typically what we use. Whether it was medical or indemnity, and so medical only, these, the amounts account for, 30% towards the EMR versus indemnity, it's 100% of the total amount. Then we've got the important stuff, the paid medical. So these are the bills that were paid that came directly from the hospital or clinic or whatever treated directly to the policyholder, which is the insurance company. Indemnity, these are lost wages, other things, like the disability payments. Paid LAE, I provided you with a link under week 8 to explain what this is. Medical reserve, indemnity reserve, LAE reserve, this is an accounting for things that are still opened. Reserve. You'll only have numbers in here when it's still open. The total incurred is meant to be this is we expect to pay. I only like to use the paids because those are solid numbers, they'll only go up. And so that makes our estimates a little bit more conservative. This explains when it closed. We could calculate how long it was open, from closed to report. And then here's whether it's opened or closed. And when it's open, that means the amount being paid is going to continue to go up. So that's what we have. Let's go to a new tab in order to start manipulating and getting some answers. So down at the bottom of the screen, and I can't enlarge this, unfortunately, you click on this little button here. And when you go over it with the cursor, it says New Sheet. So I'm going to do a left click, and it creates a new sheet. I'm going to go back to my master, and you see this this apex or whatever you want to call it, the fulcrum in between the rows and the columns. If I left click on it, it highlights the whole data sheet. And then what I can do is I can copy it. So I do Control C to copy. You can also right click and go copy, but I like to use macros. Go over to the new sheet, make sure it's on A1, and I hit Control V to paste, or you can go up there and click paste. I don't see the one I wanted, but there it is. So now I have a perfect carbon copy. I'm going to I double clicked, left click down here to turn sheet into descriptives, because we're going to do descriptive statistics in the next session. So I'm just kind of setting us up. One thing I'm going to let you know a few things here to make this easier. First thing we're going to do is give each claim a unique identifier. And it's also going to help us count. So I'm going to left click on the A, and it's going to highlight the entire A column. Oop, I got to zoom in, otherwise you can't see. I'm always going to go to 180, I think. Okay, I'll do that again. Cursor over A, left click. I suppose you could right click, and then you left click, and you go to Insert. So you right click on Insert. It's going to give me a new column here. And I can look and see what type of column it is based on the number here. I could also change the alignment. I could add other things. So we'll get into that as we start building, and I'll try to remember. So I'm going to call this, I'm just going to call it identifier. I could call it unique identifier if I wanted to. As you can see, it changed the font. I'm at Arial here, Times Roman here. If I want to make everything the same, I highlight everything, and I go up to Arial, or go up, change the font to Arial. I like Arial better. It's a 10 size. That's cool, whatever. And then I can adjust within here using the alignments. I can do text wrapped, merge and center, all this kind of stuff. So number 1 claim is a 1. Number 2 claim is a 2. Number 3, and I could type them all in, but I'm going to show you a trick. First, I'm going to highlight the first 3 and center them. And then do you see when you highlight something, a group here, when you put the cursor over the bottom right, it's like a box. You go over it, and it changes the cursor from like a big white cross to a small black one. If I double left click, it will repeat it all the way to the bottom of the data. There it goes. I could click and drag, but when I double click, it just keeps doing it. So, first question, how many claims do we have? N equals 387 claims. So that's the first information we needed to collect. I've also given each claim a unique identifier that is completely, it's just whatever, made up, but it would allow me to identify a particular claim by this number. So I think that's interesting. So we also want to look at the dates. What are the dates we've got captured here? We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. Date of injury. So it goes from 8/3, and it goes chronologically. I sorted it that way. So 8/3/2019 all the way to 8/24/2021. So claim dates from 08, 03, 20, was it 2018? Was that right? Oh, geez, no. 2009, 2309. Good. Got several years here. 09 to 08, 24, 2021. So how many years is that? Well, let's see, 2009, 2010. So the 2010 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I guess we can count them up, shall we? So 09 to 010 is 1. 8, 10, and then 11, and then 12, and then 13, and 14. I'm doing this the hard way. I don't know why I decided to do it this way. I'm going to delete it anyway. 18, 19, 20, and 21. So this was year 1, first full year. Got 12 fiscal years. 12 fiscal years. Because if I said calendar, then it would be January, and we'd lose the first and final. So it'd be 10 calendar years if we did it that way. All right, and we may do that later for fun. And I believe that's everything we wanted to do for this video, is that at the beginning of your report, you want to claim that the purpose of this study was to evaluate the quality of work comp data, the performance of the safety program, and where efforts should be prioritized and how much should be invested. That's what you're doing. The data set contained 387 work comp claims from 8/3/2009 to 8/24/2001, which represented 12 fiscal years, or we could say 10 calendar years, because it's the full year of 2010 all the way up through 2020. So, 2010 through 20, I guess that would be 11, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess so. So anyway, yeah, that's everything for this. In the next one, we're going to start getting into the descriptives, and I'm going to be adding some more columns.